Whenever you're ready, you can begin to soften the gaze or close the eyes completely. And taking the next few moments to land in a space of stillness. Expressing gratitude for having the opportunity to take care of the mind and the body. And if you'd like, you can go ahead and set an intention for today's practice. And with an open mind, simply notice what arises. Meeting your experience with a listening presence and seeing if there's anything important that arises in the body at this time. A longing of the heart, an aspiration to know yourself, to nurture yourself. And whatever the intention may be, allowing it to fall towards the background of the mind, guiding the practice from moment to moment. Lifting the gaze and opening up the eyes in your own time.
Hello. If you ever had any worries about public speaking, I highly suggest you start with a 3-minute meditation, because I don't know about you, but I feel pretty zen. I'm really excited to be here on stage with Angelic Vendette, who is the VP Global Head of Marketing at Alo Yoga. She is also on Forbes' Most Influential CMOs list for 2022, Business Insider's Chief Marketing Officers to watch. She's an expert in NFTs, the metaverse, which we're going to talk a lot about today, as well as crypto, Web3. There's a lot that we're going to talk in the innovation space. So really excited to be here with Angelique.
Yeah, thanks so much. And thanks so much for joining us in a quick practice just now. I think it's always nice to set the intention for the day and also kind of a beautiful tale but right before we head into lunch. So thanks for that.
Also, meditating before lunch is a great idea. No, and I'm Katie Barrett. I lead programmatic ad sales at LG Ad Solutions. We own 30 million smart TV glasses, we own the glass of 130 million global smart TVs, 30 million here in the US, where we have exclusive ACR data and fast and AVOD CTV inventory. And outside of doing that, I'm also a huge Alo fangirl. I have on my favorite new Alo logo. Alo Yoga leggings right now. I love yours as well. We were talking earlier. We asked Angelique if she wears anything other than Alo, and I think a couple people are still wondering.
I do not.
And so, I think one of the things that really struck me when we were talking, because I've been a very big fan of the brand from a fashion sense, is just how much more your brand transcends fashion in itself. You're really a bona fide health and wellness brand, and you're the first health and wellness brand to enter into both the digital and the physical plane. So before we kick this all off, should we go on a trip to the metaverse?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. It's very experiential today in this session, you guys. Cue the video. And as we wait, go walk through what it is. Basically queuing our URL activation of what it is to meditate in the metaverse. So you're going to see a bit of our Roblox activation here.
Welcome to the Aloe experience, where you can explore, unlock items, and experience mindfulness.
Yeah, so it was just a sizzle reel, but pretty exciting.
Now, after lunch, everyone can go do yoga in the metaverse and also pick up some aloe wares. I think one of the things that really struck me when we were having this conversation is that you have such an interesting journey of how you've come to be in your present role at Aloe. I'd love to just walk through that journey because I think a lot of the things that you've done, both in the companies that you worked for, the ones that you built, they really parallel path today to how you're bringing so much different forms of culture in at Aloe.
Yeah, of course. I actually started my career in retail, as many of you as well, and that you shared earlier today. But when I started my professional journey, so outside of kind of my student jobs, I was with a Canadian retailer called Holt Renfrew. And part of my mandate there was really transforming the journey for the consumer from being in-store and catalog to e-com. That also brought in social media. And so really, 15 or so years ago when those things were popping up, that was a big mandate of mine, especially for the Canadian retailer. I then went into management consulting, and I did a lot of digital transformation, mostly for the banking and insurance industries on the Canadian side of things. I'm Canadian. And there, I had one client who was actually a L'Oreal client. It was Kerastase. And we were embarking on this wonderful kind of B2C journey with them at the management consulting firm I was at. And at one point, the managing partner of our practice said, hey, they'd love for you to run this full time. It's not something that we can do in this mandate because the bread and butter was in the financial industry. And so I was approached and said, hey, do you want to take this on? And if you want, they're really open to you, starting your own agency or consultancy and taking this on directly. So did that for about 4 years. Did about 27 of the 32 L'Oreal brands, everything from digital marketing to transformation to influencer marketing, PR marketing, especially on the Canadian side of things. So for L'Oreal Canada. And at the end of a 4-year wonderful journey, was actually acquired and then very quickly had non-competes in Canada. And so one of the wonderful LVMH maisons scooped me up, Sephora, helped me immigrate to the US. And so that's when my American marketing journey began. At Sephora, I was in charge of social media marketing, and so ran a department there, and then very quickly stepped into integrated marketing for everything beauty. So, not only starting in retail from digital transformation, but doing that at consultancy. And then also, again, at a retailer on the Sephora side, it was all about innovation. We were doing things like virtual try-on that we discussed today. We were doing things like app innovation, looking at what new social platforms could look like. Back in the day, it was Musical.ly before it was TikTok, right? That some of you will remember. So have always been closely tied to that. It's just a passion of mine, both on a technology front and innovation front. And then due to visas, right, Canadian again, I did not have my green card at the time. My visa was expiring. Joined Dolby Labs, where we did things like live streaming, live video shopping. And this was maybe 5 years ago, so still very much at the forefront of what that looks like today. And after that, joined Stitch Fix, so an AI fashion company and platform. And finally got my green card. A recruiter reached out, and I kind of told them no. It was for a big platform in the Bay Area, and I said, you know what? I'm not interested in that. What's the most important thing for me is to go back into luxury. And right now, at the beginning of the pandemic, the thing that feels most luxury facing to me and to my family is wellness. And so I would want to end up at a brand like Alo Yoga. And lo and behold, maybe 4.5 to 5 months later, I got a call, and it was Alo, and they asked if I could come lead their marketing department and innovation department, which has been a wonderful ride so far.
And I think it's, when we're talking about Alo and marketing innovation, the way that your teams have, been built and what you're doing in-house, I also think it's interesting that you started owning your own agency, and now you're, I'm not going to take in one of your thunder, but there's a lot of in-housing that goes on the Alo side. I'd love to talk about, how that all fits together, what those different teams look like, and how they're fitting into the overall brand and story for Alo.
Yeah, we definitely have a culture of building in-house. We're a digital-first company and social-first company, and so are rather very comfortable with kind of navigating the unknown and navigating not having plans set out a year or so in advance. We can plan something in 30 days, 7 days, 3 days sometimes for large-scale activations and large-scale campaigns, and I think that's really where the magic lies in everything we do. Not only is there a culture of entrepreneurship, because we still are, relatively a small company, but knowing that we stemmed from this digital innovation from the get-go, and that's something that, I relate with wholeheartedly. It's really that empowerment from top down and bottom up, both ways.
And let's dig into some of the innovations that you're currently working on. We started with the metaverse. I'm sure some of you are wondering, what is a health and wellness brand doing there, and what has the response been like so far?
Yeah, everyone is on a wellness journey somewhere, whether that's for their mental health, for their physical health, whatever that may be, you're on a wellness journey at any point in time. And so why not also offer that in the metaverse? So that's kind of the reason for why we're there and why we went. We also saw a huge opportunity in the sense that a lot of things in the metaverse right now are highly activated. You're always on, lots of colors, lots of stimulus, music, that type of thing. And so we thought, why not pare that back and give users in our community mostly, but give them a safe space to meditate, to connect, be grounded, and center in on themselves. So to log in, but to disconnect for themselves. And so what you can really do in our metaverse activations is, whether you're joining in from desktop or most of us are mobile, you could set your phone down and you can take that yoga session, or you can take that meditation, whether you want a 2-minute or a daily affirmation to start off your day, right? Like, I am strong, I can do this. There's that there too. Or you could take a full hour-long relaxation yoga session, whatever that may be. That's all available there. And it started off as a very test and learn type of project where we just wanted to be able to communicate the brand, and if someone was able to feel what the brand stood for, even just one person, that would have been a win. Our KPIs were really small. Originally, we were like, if 100 people come and do this, and that's a win, and if they understand the brand and understand kind of the feeling that is Alo and how we want to give back, then that would be successful. But right now, we have about 52 million people that have meditated with us and done yoga with us in the metaverse. And beyond that, 58 million as of yesterday, people wearing digital fashion items, so digital clothing with us in the metaverse as well. And we launched on September 10th at last Fashion Week. So it's been quite a journey, and we've heard incredible feedback from all age ranges, just on people on that mindfulness and wellness journey for themselves.
I love that Alo Yoga is the most popular brand, both in IRL and URL. That's a huge accomplishment. I kind of shifting to another piece of innovation that we've been talking about. I live in the CTV space, and we talk a lot about new currencies to measure both streaming and linear. And someone once said to me, new currencies are like crypto. Everybody's talking about them, but no one really knows what to do with them. And when it comes to crypto, you are actually doing something very meaningful with it, both within your online retail, but also within your organization. Can we talk a little bit more about that? Because
Yeah.
I found it absolutely fascinating.
Of course. So we accept cryptocurrency at checkout, so you can purchase anything with cryptocurrency. And we also are the first retailer to offer employees to be paid in cryptocurrency. So if you would like to be paid, get your regular paycheck in crypto, you can also do that with us at Alo Yoga. It all stems from a larger ethos of education and onboarding and preparing for the future, not only for us at Alo, but really for our community. Not that I want to get into this now or that you guys want to get into this, but there's a huge discrepancy as to what the consumer base is within the Web3 space. And obviously, knowing that we have mostly women in our consumer base, it's really important for us to be part of that education with them. So hence the metaverse, hence accepting crypto, hence in just 3 days from now, launching our first NFT. So all things that are thoughtfully done so, and not because they've been buzzy or buzzwords. Like, I'm the first person to say, if it makes sense for your brand, do it. But if it doesn't, don't even touch it. Like, get out of here, in the sense that you don't need to do that to be successful. For us, though, knowing that our consumer is digitally native and social first, and that, again, stems from who we are at the core, know that there's interest. And that has been proven out with our metaverse activations to date.
And I think it's so important to be authentic to your brand. And with that, you had a high fashion, your path to where you are today has really lived in the world of high fashion, from being a journalist at Elle to working on a number of big brands. And now Alo, which is a premier athleisure company, is entering into the world of high fashion as well. Can we talk a little bit more about that and the activations that you have coming up?
Yeah, for sure. I think to give everyone background and just to chat through it as well, last September, Alo Yoga became the official wellness partner of New York Fashion Week. And so Fashion Week's been a big pillar for us for the last year or so now. And we've activated in a space where it's really igniting the community, providing wellness, massages, facials, intuitive reading, ear seedings, Reiki, all that kind of stuff for the fashion industry. Again, very experiential. And we've been doing that for 2 seasons now. And now on Saturday, we're actually presenting our first luxury ready-to-wear collection. We're doing a presentation at New York Fashion Week, which is the first of its kind for us. But definitely feels in line with who we are and kind of our clientele and what we've been doing. So very, very excited about that. It's Saturday at 1 p.m. and I can't wait.
Will there be a live stream and will exist also in the metaverse at the same time?
Actually, yeah. We will be live streaming it off our social platforms and social channels. And then metaverse tie-ins, we have 2 partners. We'll be able to, we'll have the presentation open on the 10th. It'll be mostly press. And Fashion Week crew, but then for the rest of Fashion Week, our activation space will still be open as a showroom where you could still see the collection, but then try on the items via augmented reality mirror, video mirror that you could try every single piece on. And in addition to that, a fun tie-in for our NFT that's also launching then, without giving too much.
We can't talk about that yet. So, one of the things that really, all of this is, again, I love my Alo Yoga pants, but there's so much marketing innovation that's going on with you all. Is there something in the water? What is it about your DNA that is really pushing this level of innovation? Can you give us a clue of how can we be more like Alo?
Well, I guess it does stem back to that ethos of entrepreneurship, both as to how the brand was founded, but then the type of people that gravitate towards working at Alo, right? Folks that are scrappy, innovative, social first, digital first, in all realms of it. It doesn't matter if you're opening up retail stores, because of course now we're in brick and mortar. We had about 7 stores at the start of the year, 14 halfway. Now we're at 23, and by next year, close to 200. So it's still part of who we are, although we stemmed in digital. It's just in our nature. I'm a young leader, right? I'm not going to hide that. And there's good answers and good hands raised at whatever point you are in your career. You could be an intern and be, sparked by something of interest. For example, I have a personal passion for the Web3 space, and I was able to bring that to Allo. But that could come from anyone and anywhere in the organization. You don't have to be in a specific role to be able to raise your hand. Of course, as we were chatting earlier on a previous panel, you need that organizational buy-in. You need the experience to be able to roll it out successfully. But it doesn't mean that not everyone can raise their hand and chime in, because that's what builds success and ensures that we keep being entrepreneurial.
Absolutely. You guys are small and mighty and moving very quickly.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to open it up to the group and see if anyone has any questions for Angelique. Yes? Or how are we doing this? There we go. Probably not.
Supposed to walk off the stage and hand out the mic. I mean, you could.
Thank you for the meditation intro. Basic question, but what does ALLO stand for?
Yeah, ALLO stands for Air, Land, Ocean. So ALO, ALLO.
Just wanted to know. Thank
Of course, thank you.
Hi, Jason Edelman from Brand Innovators. I don't know why I just did that. I know you so well. This was great, and thank you so much, Katie, for awesome conversation. You got a lot of press about your activation in Web3 and the metaverse, and your expectations were kind of low, and then they far surpassed that. What would you not do next time? What didn't work with that? I feel like people always ask about, like, why was it so successful, which it was, but, what are some pitfalls about your first experience there, and what would other marketers benefit from knowing about?
Yeah, if I were to do it again, I would probably, there's two things that are probably top of mind. One is that I would probably launch several metaverses at the same time, knowing that, hindsight is 2020, and seeing the success, right? We've built it on one platform and with one community, and have driven community into that platform, and vice versa. But knowing that there's so many other platforms to have the metaverse in, I think it would have been smart now, with knowing the success, to have gone, kind of guns a-blazing across all platforms. So that's something that I'm like, I wish, And then another piece that I have a lot of kind of conversations about is like, do you wish you monetized it? We are, one of the only brands that decided to not monetize any of our digital fashion. And now knowing that there's 58 million, pieces of clothing worn on avatars, sure, if they're worth a penny or a few dollars here and there, that could have racked up really quickly, right? And have my marketing org be, self-sufficient. But I actually don't regret it, in the sense that I have a lot of that conversation with folks, but being true to who we are and being true to kind of the purpose and mission and why we went into the metaverse, to, share this wellness journey with folks, and to be part of that with them, and to be able to give them, if it's that mental clarity that they need to start their day, or that, wind down to end their day, whatever it may be. So I would still have done the same thing, but I wanted to raise that because it's a big discussion, that, of course, you can monetize this, right? Brands out there, you can make a lot of money from this, and for us, we just didn't want to, and I, till this day, don't want to. Yeah.
There's another question.
Hi, Elizabeth Firth at Influential. Question for you, because I know that you talked so much about the power of entrepreneurship and that culture within Allo Yoga. When do you make the decision that you recognize that you do need external expertise, like within the marketing ecosystem? Like, when do you kind of bring in certain external partners and in different situations? Like, when is that time when you're like, oh, we don't necessarily always have that expertise in-house and maybe want to rely or partner with others outside of Allo?
Yeah, I do that so quickly in the sense that there's no shame in wanting to find an expert that's a lot more knowledgeable in a space than you are. Like, not a secret, I'm not an expert in what I do, but I hire experts, and I have an incredible team, and this is all they're doing at the end of the day. But I am a believer in doing it in-house. So I might find a wonderful agency partner and then hire that person and bring them onto the team. Because I do believe in long-term growth and build. As a marketer, I'm not someone who believes in kind of like one and done or transactional types of campaigns or partnerships, let's say on the influencer front, but that could be for anything else. So do believe in kind of that long-term build and understanding the ethos and culture and bringing folks in-house to help do that. But I do that right away, and it's important to recognize that and important to recognize where your limitations are. And if you're passionate about something and you want to deep dive and learn, Allo's a place where you could come test and learn and fail. And like or at least on within the whole org, we celebrate failures and we celebrate that test and learn as long as something has come out of it, whether it be for yourself or for the team. But yeah, right away.
Thank you.
We have one more.
Hi, Justin from L'Oreal. Angelique, you mentioned a little bit about your experience being a young leader. So I'm curious to know, do you have any advice or insights that you could share with other future young leaders or current young leaders that they could take on their careers?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it's okay to not be perfect. Like, we don't have to be in a place where all of our presentations or speeches are all hands in front of 20,000 people. Like, they don't have to be perfect. You guys saw today, right? Like, nothing is excessively polished. I actually have, social anxiety. And so that meditation was maybe more for me than for you guys to start the session. And it's okay to be transparent on those things. We're all human at the end of the day. And so leading with empathy, with compassion, and understanding that we all are stemming into a place where we want to create good and we want to challenge ourselves, but at the end of the day, we're human. I think that's probably the most important piece, because it's really easy to kind of feel like you're out of your league, or like, hey, it's like, what am I doing? And that happens all the time with me, and I share that with my team. It's like, guys, is this metaverse thing going to work? Who knows? But let's try it, because we'll learn, and so on and so forth. That's like one example, but I think for young leaders, it's important to be able to kind of trust yourself, trust your instinct, and trust the data, trust your team, trust the experts, but also lead with being human.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inspiring people both on and offline. And this has been really fun.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, you guys.